everybody. Welcome to our 7th podcast. We have a lot of exciting information for you. My name is Lisa, also known as Talia Levid. I am joined by Ms. Carol Lee, also known as Guardian 105, and Karel, also known as Kodalea.
Good morning, everyone.
And Charles Jackson, also known as Stand For Us.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Morning. And we have a lot of fun things lined up for you. For our Roaaar, we're going to talk about the extended clans and the Gargoyle Nation, which we haven't covered yet. We have lots of fan fiction and fan art, and we have a special interview. We actually have a double interview this time around. So we're really excited for that. We have some very, very enthusiastic fans, and it was so much fun visiting with our 2 mics, who you will get to know in a little while. Moving on to our news.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, with Convergence coming in 2014, they will be celebrating the 20th anniversary of Gargoyles' first airing. If you want to meet Greg Weisman and a whole bunch of other Gargoyles fans, come. However, you should register before December 31st, 2013, because right now, adults over 18 are only $60. Ages 13 to 17, you can get in for $40. Ages 6 to 12, $20. Ages 5 and under are free. However, that rate will increase. After December 31st, the rates for adults 18 and over will rise to $75. And then at the door, if you have not registered by then, it will nearly double from December 31st price to $120. So if you want to come, register now. You have less than a month. Also of note, in 2014, it looks like there are some policy changes. 2014 registrations will not accept personal checks, including registering for 2014 at the door in 2013, which apparently doesn't matter anymore. I'm reading this from the actual website, and it looks like 2014 registrations will be limited to 3 guest badges. It says guest of badges, which I'm not exactly sure what that means, but if you have questions, I'm sure you can also contact the Convergence Registration Department at registration@convergence-con.org with any questions regarding registration. So fellow Gargoyles fans, fellow fans of other things, you have been warned. You have been informed.
And
This PSA brought to you by Gargoyles Reawakening.
And we'll have this website on our personal website too, so that if you do stop by Reawakening.com, it will be posted so you can find your link right there. With other news, we are still plugging away at our Fan of the Week, which I have so much fun doing every week. However, I do want to let people know, because this was a question addressed to me. Yes, you are able to recommend people or nominate people. We love it. You know, we're trying very hard to reach out to every single fan that we can. And of course, we've created a huge list of people that we know about, but that doesn't mean we know everybody, and we sure want to. So if you have somebody that you want to nominate who's just a huge fan and just deserves that recognition, drop us a line. We will be glad to display their artwork or their stories or, just anything that shows what kind of a great fan they are on our Tumblr. You can contact us right on Tumblr, of course, or you can contact us Facebook, DeviantArt, Twitter. You probably won't get too far because I'm sorry, we're not on there very often, even though we should be. But yeah, let us know, because we want to reach out to every single fan for our Fan of the Week.
If you have to wait more than 24 hours for a response on Twitter, feel free to message me on Twitter at Guardian105, and I will be sure to get back to you. I'm pretty good when it comes to that. Kind of. I'll try. Additionally, we would like to mention that with the Gargoyles fandom, most of us have been fans since the show originally aired back in the 90s, and a lot of us are, not teenagers anymore. So we do understand that there are a lot of NSFW, that stands for Not Safe for Work, photos, stories, pictures, images. We respect that. But if you do decide to recommend a fan who does have primarily NSFW work, please let us know so that we can take the appropriate action. We do appreciate the NSFW work. We appreciate tasteful adult artwork, but we also understand that Gargoyles Reawakening caters to all audiences, and not all audiences may want to view the NSFW work. So please let us know if the person you're recommending does primarily have NSFW work, and like I said, we will take the appropriate precautions.
Absolutely. And in other news, we are also on Pinterest now. This has been a project that's been in the works. It's not completely completed yet, I will admit that. But we do have the backbone of it started. What we're looking to do, of course, is create categories for each of the characters. Most of the canon characters will be put together, but we do have categories and boards for our main characters. And so what we've been doing is trying to post some screenshots, artist work, anything that, just showcases our favorite show. And I will let you know that we will not post anything that does not have the artist's actual link. We don't believe that artists' work is for free or that the internet is for free. Just because it's out there doesn't mean that we feel we have the right to post it without a link. So if you do share something on our page and it doesn't have a link, unfortunately we'll take it down. However, if we post something, it will always, always, always have the proper link.
And of course, if you have any questions or concerns regarding our posting policy or whether we have posted something erroneously or linked erroneously, you are always welcome to send us an email at podcast@gargoylesreawakening.com. We will get back to you as soon as we can because the last thing we want to do is anger the artist community.
Exactly. So come check us out. It's www.pinterest.com/gargoylesr.
In addition to Convergence and our new Pinterest page, as many of you may know, Greg Weisman is the executive producer for the new Disney cartoon Star Wars Rebels. In fact, if you go to the Facebook group Make a Real Gargoyles Movie Disney, you can see a conversation about it with a link to a YouTube video in which Greg Weisman talks about Gargoyles, Young Justice, and a number of other shows that he's helped work on. And in fact, if you fast forward to the 24th second, you can see a very special Gargoyles reference. Hope you watch it.
All right, and after all that exciting news, we will move on to our roar. All right, on this podcast roar, I was going to talk about some of the extended clans, and after some thinking, I decided to cover the entire Gargoyle Nation. Now, what the Gargoyle Nation is, it's a canon and training entity created by Greg Weisman, and it's a confederation of the Gargoyle clans founded at some point between 1997 and 2188. The Gargoyle Nation was founded sometime in relation to the sacrifice of Goliath. If you guys didn't know that, spoiler alert, and the passing of the Gargoyle Minority Protection Act by the United Nations. What this did is it turned the scattered Gargoyle clans into more of a nation state. They became a single unit, even though they still lived in their respective areas. And in 2198, as a sign of this unity, every clan around the world will bring their eggs to Queen Florence Island so that they can hatch together and will eventually form a new clan.
Additionally, just to let you know, canon in training is a term that Greg Weisman coined a while back. Basically, it means if it wasn't in the cartoon, if it wasn't in the SLG comic book, if it wasn't in the episode of Team Atlantis The Last, but it is part of Greg Weisman's master plan, it is considered canon in training. If it doesn't have any form of actual tangible evidence, like I said, the cartoon or the SLG comic book, then it means it's part of Greg Master's plan, but we haven't yet seen something about it that we can touch or watch. But It is part of the master plan.
And it's subject to change due to that.
This is also true. This is important to note.
Yep. So anything I'm telling you, if we ever get our gargoyles back, it might change completely.
And if it does, we will redact everything.
No, I'll still be like, hey, this is what we knew. History changes.
If it's not already printed yet, that means it's still up in the air, but there is already a plot that's planned out.
Because Greg Weisman is awesome.
Yes, he is God.
He's our God.
Yeah. Well, he's a great guy, but
a God.
But that's just the God. He's the awesome man.
Within the Gargoyle Nation, there is a total of 14 clans. I'm going to talk about each of them. And to begin with, I'll just name them to begin with, but there are 10 founding clans so far. And the 10 clans include the Manhattan clan, the Labyrinth clan, the London, the Avalon, the Ishimuran, the Mayan, the Pukin, the Xanadu, the New Olympian, and the Loch Ness clans. In addition to this, we do have 2 possible founding clans, which will be Camelot or New Camelot. I've seen it called both. And also a Wyvern clan, which is actually a future Wyvern clan. It's not the Wyvern clan that we currently know and love. And then our later members will actually be a Liberty clan and the Notre Dame clan. So that makes up our total 14 clans. And I will say right now that there isn't a lot of information on some of these clans, but we'll hit the big ones and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the others. To begin with, of course, the Manhattan clan, that's the one that we know. These are the characters that we've grown up with. They originated in Scotland from Castle Wyvern, and I guess prior to that, it was Wyvern Hill. Xanatos, of course, bought and transported their castle to New York, and that begins their story.
Soundtrack ever during that
right?
montage.
Absolutely. And they really did consider themselves still the Wyvern clan. That didn't change until about February 1995, when in Reawakening, I really feel that this is where the 6 gargoyles, they kind of stopped being just the survivors of this massacre that they had endured. And they really became the Manhattan clan. They vowed to protect Manhattan as opposed to just staying within their castle. The Manhattan clan currently is still a pretty small clan. Of course, we have Goliath, Brooklyn, Lexington, Broadway, Hudson, Bronx. And they do consider Elisa a clan member. I couldn't find anything that said they considered Matt Bluestone a clan member. I guess I always did. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, maybe
later on.
In like a different
like an
term.
ally.
Yeah, he's definitely an ally.
And isn't Gina part of this clan or of the Avalon clan?
They actually move Angela into the Manhattan clan. So that's a good question. She starts out, of course, in the Avalon clan, and they move her into this clan. And then this becomes such a melting pot. We do have our main 6 from Canada, from Scotland. I was thinking about Queen Florence Island, from Scotland. And then later on, we do adapt more members. We get, some Japanese members with Katana, and then we have Chinese with Foo Dog, and we have our mixed descent with Nashville, who's Japanese and Scottish. In addition, we'll have Eduardo or Tachi.
I said it before you did. I'm sorry. Tachi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Eduardo is female?
Yep, Eduardo will be female.
Male and a female.
Cool.
Eduardo.
I know about Nash.
Never knew that?
Yep, we've got Nash. And then, of course, we'll have Coldstone, Coldfire, who will rejoin their clan as well.
Will they be part of the Wyvern clan, or do they become part of the Manhattan clan once they become reanimated?
They become part of the Manhattan clan.
They are mostly in cybernetic bodies. They're android bodies, and because they're magically their souls are put into those androids, and just how Coldstone was revived back to life. He was through magic and science. Parts of his body was made up with cybernetics to make up for the loss of his pieces when he was smashed to stone.
Right.
I
thought, and this might have been TGS, but I thought at one point Titania actually returns at least Othello and Desdemona to flesh and blood. But I
remember reading that part.
Okay, but was this
remember,
TGS or was this canon in training?
I didn't find anything on that.
Okay, then it was probably canon. Then it's probably TGS. Because I remember seeing a artwork of it.
Yeah. Let me see. I know that was in TGS, but
gotcha.
I am glad you brought up Tachi, though, because I was actually going to talk about her. She is very unknown, but then so is Katana and Nashville. But Tachi is Eduardo. She hatches in 1998, and she does become part of the Manhattan clan. There isn't too much written about her yet, but let's face it, her story hasn't been written. And then in addition, we do have some more hatchlings that will come about. These will be Angela and Broadway's hatchlings. So we have Artis, Guinevere, and Lancelot. They're each hatched. Artis will come about in 2018. Guinevere will be 2038, and Lancelot will be 2058. So
mark your calendars, everybody.
That's right.
And
mark your calendars.
Get the birthday invitations out.
So I just think it'd be really cool to see some of these characters brought to life. Of course, we may not, but if we ever do, I'm really looking forward to it. And the other one that will eventually be part of the Manhattan Clan, and of course by this time date, again, there's not too much written, but there's a character named Samson, and I don't know how familiar you guys are with him, but he's going to be the star of what would have been the spinoff of 2198.
Right.
Yep. And he hatches in 2158, and I did find a little more information about him. And what he is a young warrior who will be tutored in Manhattan and Ishimura. So he's going to have quite an interesting backstory already. It's likely he's the second in command of his clan once he becomes older. And during his training in Ishimura, he becomes close friends with characters named Zafiro, Nicholas Natsalani Maza, which obviously a descendant of the adopted child between Goliath and Elisa, and then a character also named Delilah. So they reuse a few of these names.
And actually, it looks like I'm looking at the Garg-Wiki page right now, and it's oh dear, he's the
Guardian.
I'm sorry. In fact, you're correct. He was like a second, but he forms a resistance cell with the later Delilah as his second.
Yes. Yep, I was going to talk about that too, so I'm glad you brought that up. And we would see quite a bit of Samson in this 2198 spinoff, and also in some of the time dancing. I believe there were going to be a couple crossover episodes with that, but Brooklyn will spend some time here. Of course, that's off track.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, there's just so much about the Manhattan Clan. It's kind of hard to put it into a nutshell. But of course, that would make sense. That's our biggest clan. That's the one that we've been working with for since 1994.
The catalyst for everything in the Gargoyle universe to start taking off from.
Mm-hmm. And then some other fun facts about the Manhattan Clan before I move on to these other ones. The clan will continue to reside at the Erie building. So apparently that alliance, if you want to call it that hosting by the Xanatos family, that will continue until at least 2198. And then the building will become known as the Erie Pyramid. So we've got a little future tense going on there. Yeah.
Probably more of a truce than anything, but
under the Spaceborne control.
What was the title of the SLG comic, Bash or something, where I believe Lexington is talking to Fox?
Dresses up as a cyborg?
Well, no. Well, it's the same. It's the same issue, I believe, or at least the same story arc, where he's asking Fox, "Are there any magically poisoned pins in the costumes?" And she says, "No, Lexington, they're fine," or something along those lines, because he's still
very unquote, skeptical.
Legitimately butthurt over her betrayal went back in the first season.
Yeah, understandably.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did have a question.
Yeah.
I know of the London clan, Ishimura, Mayan, but Pukan and Xanadu.
Okay. Yeah, well, Xanadu is the Chinese clan, and what was the other one?
Pukan is the Korean.
Piku? Yes,
Pukan.
It's Korean.
Right.
South Korea, I assume.
How do we know about these? Are these... Because I've never heard of them.
Oh, let me send you the link. I found these on, of course, our Garg Wiki.
Oh, okay, so it is Garg Wiki. Cool, I'll check them out.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll send you the link.
The Notre Dame clan, is that, with Behemoth?
No, that's a spinoff with the Justice League, yeah.
No, yeah, that is with Behemoth.
I'm lost. What hell?
Well, I will admit the Notre Dame clan is probably the clan that has the least information. There's no known members, and they don't even have a true speculation of when the clan was established.
Oh, but it's not necessarily with Behemoth and Diabolique.
I don't know if it is or not.
Okay.
It'd be cool if it was.
It would be nice,
it
actually.
Would be.
It would be actually nice if Weissman recognizes Carol's Paris clan as such.
I think that should be the route he should take.
Oh, yeah.
He should totally go with Carell's. And then going back to the Manhattan Clan, eggs from the Manhattan Rookery will be stolen in 2008. How or why isn't currently known. And also something that I thought was pretty cool was eventually members of this clan will work for the New York Police Department as official protectors of the city. And other individuals,
is awesome.
Right? And other individuals of the clan will be brought into the United Nations by Secretary General Alexander Xanatos to work as peacekeepers.
Wait, that's interesting. Don't they normally nominate Secretary Generals from, like, third world countries?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He's
right.
in the United Nations, so they must have elected him for the American.
Okay, well, hey, go Xanatos family for being so charming.
Go Alex.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, this will probably have major influence in the United Nations when they do pass that Gargoyle Minority Protection Act.
Oh, certainly, because he was born with gargoyles and he was raised with gargoyles.
Mm-hmm.
Lexington is doggy.
That's right. And since we're in New York, I'm going to stay there and talk about the Labyrinth Clan, just briefly. There isn't too much that we don't know about the Labyrinth Clan. Of course, this is the clan of our clones and mutates. So we've got Talon, Maggie, Claw, Delilah, Malibu. I always want to say Brentwood, but he's not really part of the clan. Burbank and Hollywood. And former members were Brentwood and Fang, but of course they've broken away. And for those of you who
are not aware, Brentwood is now joined with Thaylog. And Fang is part of the Bad Guys miniseries, which was also published along with Clan Buildings Volumes 1 and 2 by SLG, which stands for Slave Labor Graphics.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And for those of you who aren't familiar with this clan, in 1996, Demona and Thaylog came up with this idea that they wanted their own clan. So they hired Savarius, and what they did is Demona basically staged her own capture, and they collected DNA samples from the Manhattan clan, minus Angela, and Bronx. They didn't do a clone dog. And they created their own clan. However, unfortunately, it didn't work out the way they expected. So it could be argued that maybe the true nature of the Manhattan clan came out in these clones, or they just decided that they liked this idea of free will that was offered to them, but they broke away after Thaylog supposedly perished and after Demona fled. And supposedly perished there too. We weren't supposed to know that she had survived either.
It is of interest to note that Demona named her clan based off of places in the California area because she thought the idea of having the original gargoyles take their names from areas from the Manhattan area was stupid.
Ridiculous. Yeah, she's making fun of them.
Yes.
So
although me personally, if there had been a Bronx clone, they totally should have named it Griffith. Why, I have no idea.
Just because I'm not from California, is that a particular place?
Griffith is actually Griffith Park, and the Griffith Observatory is one of the most famous observatories, I think, in the world. It's right on top of, I believe it's Mount Hollywood, which is ironically not the mountain that has the Hollywood sign on it. That's actually Mount Lee. And on good nights, they have some, I've never been to them, but they have some fantastic astronomy parties when the nights are clear during the summer, and it is a fun place to go. If awesome. Anybody is ever in the California, Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley area, you should definitely check out, especially if you're a science or astronomy buff, you should definitely check out the Griffith Observatory. And if you can, if they are airing the little movie, the little documentary about how they renovated it, that is also a must-see. And it may even also be available in their gift shop if they are not airing it at that time. But that is a fantastic documentary.
Cool.
There is in fandom, but it's not considered canon fandom, that there was a clone of Angela, but it's blown by...
There's a few clones of Angela, to be honest with you. Like in
I think all of the gargoyles have at least one clone.
Easily.
Jezebel.
Well, there's Jezebel, and then there's also one by Detania.
I believe that is Patrick Tomon, one of Patrick Tomon's original characters, correct?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And, I'm sorry, with the Labyrinth Clan, the only thing I did want to mention, of course, was the future member, which would have been another Delilah. She comes around in 2158 as well. And she is a descendant of the original Delilah and a member of the Labyrinth Clan. And she does become Samson's second in command. it's speculated that she's troubled by her awareness of being descended from the original Delilah, and thus she really feels this anger because she's a half-breed, and I think other people treat her differently. They're fearful and disgusted by her, and therefore she's kind of the damaged character, I believe. But she does seem pretty interesting, and I hope that maybe she can be fleshed out later on, too.
Now, in terms of people who shun her, would this be just gargoyles, or is it gargoyles and humans? I suppose it doesn't necessarily matter.
It sounds like it's mostly the humans, but it sounds like Delilah is worried that her gargoyles also feel this way toward her. So
Gotcha.
I think she's one of those like hard-edged characters. Like she's very vulnerable inside, but she's got the tough exterior. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, I was going to worry about she was going to be more like in Demona, where she just become basically just broken emotionally to the point where she just lashes out. Or
she just seems very insecure.
Oh, okay.
From what I'm reading, she seems very insecure. But she does join Samson's resistance cell, and she becomes his second in command. So I don't think that she shares those emotions that Demona has. I really think personality-wise, she's probably more like Delilah or maybe even Elisa Mazza, because, that's kind of a relation of some sort.
Mm. It is funny why she's called like Delilah too.
Yeah, she's Delilah too.
Also of note,
Delilah. I thought it's just Delilah again.
Well, her name is Delilah, but if you want to be, direct about it, she's Delilah too. Like if you're talking about Delilah, yeah.
Also of note, as was shown in the SLG run of Gargoyles, both in Mask and The Rock, Maggie and Talon have a baby.
They have a baby. They do.
Trigger.
That's right. And you know what? That's not even mentioned on the wiki. Naughty wiki. We caught
Wiki
you.
powers that be. You have your assignment.
Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's probably totally in here, and I'm just skimming over it because I'm trying to be quick.
Actually, in fact, it does say in her history, the last sentence is, around this time, Maggie also became pregnant. And that's actually...
There we go.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Okay.
Moving on.
One or more child. I was just kind of thinking in terms like, cats having litters.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what Greg wants to do.
Yeah, it's in his court.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, we'll go into the London clan.
We can furry's dreams come true.
And one thing I do want to note, I thought this was pretty cool. The London clan is one of the oldest clans in existence. They actually seem to predate London itself. Little is known about this history. I know. But we do know that the clan may have encountered King Arthur, and upon his death, there's a whole mythos behind this, but the London clan were brought... Or I'm sorry, the three, as they call them, which, let me get that pulled up again. The three, which comprise of Morgana Le Fay, Nimue, and the Lady of the Lake, come to the London clan and teach them the Excalibur poem. And so that's
Excalibur, pardon?
The Excalibur poem that Griff knew.
Oh.
Yeah, and they pass this down to each generation of rookery hatchlings. So
is this the one that Griff recites in the Gargoyles episode where we find Pendragon in London?
Yep.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. And also something that I thought was pretty cool to note is this clan actually is probably the most humanized clan because they do run their shop in Soho. And of course, for those who don't know, this is the clan with Una, Leo. Eventually, you'll see Griff. And in the comics, we do get to see Staghart, Old Pog, Constance, who's awesome, and Luna, which is Una and Leo's daughter. But they live in a large rural estate outside of London called Knightspur. And they actually own a magic shop in the Soho district of London called Into the Mystic. And due to this, they've become the most humanized. They are a founding member of the clans, of the Gargoyle Nation, but they, one thing that we can also note about this clan is they are going to be the most humanized. In fact, it's speculated that they will actually lose quite a bit of their gargoyle way. And another thing that I wanted to note is they do not have 3 eggs, which is common for gargoyles. They actually keep their mating pairs separated during the female's 3rd heat. And this is to keep their numbers small for their estate.
Right, because just like, we have 7 what is it, 7 billion humans on this planet?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, overpopulation.
It's predicted by the halfway point of the century, by 2050, we will have almost 11 billion. At that point, we're really going to be in trouble trying to support that type of size of population.
So you hear that, government? Get cracking.
Not just that, the rest of the world.
And then we will touch on the Avalon clan really quick. This, of course, is the clan that was raised on the island of Avalon by Magus, Tom, and Catherine. They were brought there as eggs, and they hatched in paradise, basically. It does say that the 3 humans raised these gargoyles in the manner of rookery parents, attempting to mimic gargoyles' customs. I don't know. I always felt Angela was more humanized than the others, but I suppose being around humans, that's going to happen.
Well, I think there's probably enough truth to that in that Princess Catherine was around gargoyles her entire life. Mm-hmm. So she knew, I mean, despite the fact that she feared them and despised them originally, she knew about them.
Yes.
Right. So she probably... Right.
And I think as a way to repent that she really did try to raise them the right way for Goliath, because, I mean, she did take responsibility for Magus's mistake in his grief. And, I mean, of course, we always know that Magus was trying to repent for that, too.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it really did make sense once I read it, but it was like, oh, I just always assumed. Shows what happens when you assume.
Well, I just remember
assumption is the mother of all failures.
Of course, this is our clan that it's actually a very large clan with 17 males, 16 females, including Angela, 1 male gargoyle beast, and 2 female gargoyle beasts, which is where Boudica comes in because she, of course, will become Bronx's mate. Mm-hmm. And Gabriel is our leader of this clan, with Angela was the second in command, but once she left, Ophelia took her place as second in command, and she had also been Gabriel's mate. So I think that was kind of a nice pairing anyway. There are other characters.
Mated with Gabriel?
Yeah, Ophelia and Gabriel were mates.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Angela. I got confused for a second. My apologies. It's Ophelia
I'm
and Gabriel
so sorry.
mated.
You know what? That's probably how I said it. Angela was the second in command, and Ophelia stepped up after Angela left.
And eventually, Ophelia and Gabriel become mates. Gotcha. Because I remember Goliath saying in one of the SLG comics that gargoyles mate for life. So it was, I mean, the equivalent of losing Demona, as in she died, which, I mean, he's gone through multiple times. So the fact that he is now mated with Elisa is kind of, I mean, not only is it different in the fact that it's a gargoyle and a human, but it's different in that Goliath, and
it breaks that gargoyle tradition. Yeah.
So I thought when I thought you said Angela had mated with Gabriel, I thought that was weird because it was like, wait a minute, but now she's mated with Broadway, so she did it too. So my mistake.
Angela. No. Nope, she was not mates with Gabriel. I think Gabriel and Ophelia were already mates when they came upon the island, when Goliath, Elisa, and Bronx came upon the island.
Gotcha.
But Angela was the second in command.
Gotcha.
Also, we have the Ishimuran clan, which is located in Ishimura, Japan. These guys we only see very momentarily in one episode, but of course that's the one with Kai and Sora and Yama, who actually become very substantial characters on their own later on in the comics. And we see a few other characters, but we don't actually meet them, unfortunately. And then, of course, a former member of that clan would be Katana, who does leave with Brooklyn to become her mate, or his mate. And she, of course, was around during Japan's feudal period. And she and Brooklyn will become the parents of Tachi and Nashville. Mayan clan is located in Guatemala. These are the guardians of the pyramid. I should also note the Ishimuran and the Mayan clans are probably 2 of my favorites. I don't know. I just love their designs. I love their personalities. I love everything they stand for.
Their biological makeup is quite different from what we're used to with even just the London and the Manhattan clan / Wyvern clan. So it's the diversity shows just how, again, plug to Greg Weisman, just how cool he is.
That's right.
It makes you wonder really what the Xanadu and the was it Pukan clan pronounced?
Look like?
The what?
What they
What they
look like.
Yeah, what they would look like themselves, the Chinese and the Korean clans.
I know. I think it'd be so fascinating if these could actually
especially
be created.
the Notre Dame. I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Notre Dame?
Yeah, the Notre Dame. I'm sorry. And yes, thank you. My tongue.
I thought you were about to talk about Nostradamus, and I'm like,
yeah,
we're just tired.
I was like, no, I'm saying it wrong. I used to pronounce it correctly, and for some reason today it's just
No, you're doing fine.
just not doing it right.
And actually, I want to back up with the
yes.
Ishimuran clan. By 2198, the Ishimuran clan will actually become a clan of teachers, which I thought was pretty cool. And in a way, Mr. Miyagi, I don't care if that's generalizing the Japanese. I'm not trying to. But many gargoyles will go to Ishimura to learn Bushido. This, of course, will include our characters of Samson, Delilah, and Zafiro, not to be confused with our original Delilah and Zafiro. And humans go there too, including Nicholas Maza, who will come to Ishimura to study and join the Order of the Guardian. There wasn't much information on the Order of the Guardian. Sorry, so I don't really know what that is. And even though the world will become aware of the Ishimura clan by 2198, when all of the eggs are stolen from Queen Florence Island, this is probably one of the last clans to be revealed to the world at large. They really do try to maintain that secrecy, and I don't know, I think that's kind of cool that they're the last to step up, when I thought one of maybe more of the exclusive clans like the Xanadu clan would be the last.
Which clan is this again? The name
Ishimuran.
Oh.
Yep, the Japanese Ishimura.
Well, I think the reason why they were the last to step up was, well, after they got bad experience with what's his name? I always forget his damn name. That little punk that tried to use them as a
Taro?
A theme park attraction. Yes, him.
I don't know about
his
that.
Little haircut too.
Because when you think about it, that's a long time span. I mean, that happened back in 1995, and they're not revealing themselves until much later, like almost a century.
Well, they learned they learned from that experience that they're just not yet ready to reveal themselves because of that situation where it felt that if he represents modern society where they were more humble, traditional society that they were living in Ishimura, that feel that it's not safe yet. There's people out there that would rather not welcome us but more exploit us.
I don't know.
That's my opinion. That's from where I see things through Taro.
And then, of course, we have our Mayan clan, which is also one of the clans that we do meet on the Avalon journey. And this clan formed some kind of alliance with the Mayan people. They were also around long before probably the history was recorded, but they have been living in Guatemala. And in 990, a human wizard created their Mayan sun amulet and the 4 pendants that basically ensure protection to the pyramid. So 4 gargoyles will wear these day and night so that someone is always around to protect the pyramid. For reasons unknown, in 1993, while the 4 were away, poachers came into the pyramid, and they actually destroyed all of the members of the clan. Now, fortunately, they did not destroy the 20 to 40 eggs in the rookery. So even though there's only 4 members that we get to see, there's actually a whole clan ready to be hatched underneath, and they'll hatch in 1998. And I also thought it was pretty cool that some of these would be gargoyle beasts, which you don't see in the Mayan clan. But then to continue, because these do have gargoyle beasts as well, we're going to see some new character development in there. And what really gives this clan an advantage is they are able to recover from their massacre. It is slow, and it might even be as slow as, say, the Manhattan clan, but they do rebound. And of course, their primary mission will be environmental. They are going to always protect their secrets and their wonders of the Mayan rainforest, or the Guatemalan rainforest, I should say. And of course, this is one of our clans that will have their eggs kidnapped on Queen Florence Island in 2198. Now we're getting into those unknown clans, and there isn't too much on the rest of these, so I do apologize. I was being very brief with our other clans because there's so much, but with these I'm brief because there's so little. But we'll begin with the Pukin clan, which is also one of our founding members. Again, canon and training. But this clan is certainly ancient, and most of their history is unknown. They do live in caves and tunnels in the mountains of the Pukan River, and unlike other gargoyles from other clans, their main drive isn't protection of a place or thing. They actually protect the concept of justice, which I found pretty interesting. And to be honest, I don't want to go too far into it because I don't want to destroy maybe what Greg Wiseman had within his master plan. But he did quote that for this clan, justice is an absolute religion, and poetic justice is their one true art. It's their comedy, their tragedy, and their obsession.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I know. Again, there are no known members at this time. The physical characteristics are also unknown. And exactly where they live within Pukan is also unknown. But maybe one day we'll get to see that. Going on to the Xanadu clan. This is our Chinese clan. They are located in Xanadu, China. Also one of an older clan in existence. They are hidden in the northern mountains of China, and they've stayed there for centuries. Not much is known about this clan, but they have taken it upon themselves to protect the gargoyle beast species. And they specialize in breeding these beasts as companions and guard dogs. It is noted that this clan may be responsible for saving the beasts from extinction because the beasts, as we've noticed, are rare among other clans. And this, of course, is where Foo Dog will come from. Characteristics of this clan, it does seem that they resemble small-scale dragons, and the beast clan members resemble the Foo Dogs of Chinese architecture.
Cool. I remember in TGS there was a scene in the Gargoyle Saga where I believe her name is Sharon. She eventually becomes a mutate, but her parents are they're being targeted by, I believe it's the Yakuza, and if I mispronounce that, I apologize. But the Gargoyles dispatch Bronx to sit in the family's her parents' house, and they immediately embrace him and scream "Komainu!" I think that's what they scream. They're at first the clan is concerned that they may react poorly.
This is a fan fiction?
Yep, this is part of the Gargoyle Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember reading that somewhere. Okay, it sounded very familiar.
So yeah, it's like I think Sharon's mother gets down on her knees and gives Bronx this huge hug, and they're just overjoyed that I apologize, I do not know the significance of the term komainu in Japanese language or Japanese lore, but there's yeah, we're fine. You guys gave us komainu. We're great.
All right, moving on, we are going to talk about the Loch Ness clan, which is a clan of gargoyles that lives in the Loch Ness region of Scotland. This one has been in existence since probably around the 10th century, and it's possible that they had contact with neighboring clans, including Wyvern and the Scone clan, which was one of the clans in ancient Scotland. It doesn't seem likely that they had contact with Damona's clan, as we saw. However, they have been thriving throughout the centuries. I don't know why they didn't show up in the episode with the Loch Ness Monster, but that is their goal. They actually safeguard and protect the few remaining Loch Ness monsters that are still under this lake's surface. And they will also become one of our founding members. Now, what's really cool is it did mention some of their characteristics. They are the most aquatic of the surviving gargoyles, and they've adapted to their watery home. Their wings, according to the wiki, are shaped as large manta-like fins, and their lower bodies are quite dolphin-esque. So we actually don't know how these features affect their ability to walk on land or glide or etc. And we do not know any members of this clan.
I don't think they glide at all. I think they're an aquatic race.
Well, that's what I would imagine. I don't know, though.
Maybe the reason they appeared on the episode was they've lost track of where Nessie and her young went to, since Severus was so intent on wanting to capture and study the species.
Well, and I mean, that's really possible because when you think about it, that sub probably traveled faster than they could. I mean, I know Goliath, they kind of show him keeping up with it, but he wouldn't have been able to do so without the help of Bruno's little side sub. So that's very possible. They might have lost track.
One also may take into consideration, when it comes to family or friends in danger, the human body, the human spirit is capable of doing a great many things. So obviously I'm sure the same is true for the gargoyle body or the gargoyle spirit. So they're strong. They're pretty darn strong anyway. So he probably got the adrenaline boost because Angela was in danger. I believe it is by this time that he is accepting that Angela is... Oh, no, wait, no. It is this episode in which we learn that Angela is his biological daughter. But the whole idea of, protecting the clan, she is young enough to... I mean, who knows? Maybe he was thinking about this. I know she's young enough to breed with
one of the trio.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that he always had that in the back of his mind. I mean, I know that might seem weird when you think about human parents, but I do think, this was a way for his clan to carry on. And so, and of course it is clan, so she's always been one of his daughters.
So the idea of protecting one's own, and, the whole idea of protecting in general, it probably gave him the adrenaline boost he needed in order to, keep up with the sub.
Right.
And who knows, maybe the sub wasn't going as fast as it could have.
That's true.
And you always seen how when gargoyles are pissed off, they do some amazing feats.
Superhuman. I also like to think that maybe because Nessie had little ones, maybe the clan stayed behind to protect the little ones because we don't see the babies until later after you see Big Daddy with Nessie. So maybe that's something. I don't know. If that's an idea, someone can steal it and use it. Go for it. Moving on, we will go into our possible founders, which include the Camelot clan and the Wyvern clan. Again, there's not too much about these clans. Camelot clan will be formed in New Camelot, Antarctica. And this is going to be a very diverse clan. And I really think Lexington plays quite a part in this one because they actually have some type of sophisticated artificial environment kept running by a master matrix. And in 2198, when the space spawn actually attacks, the clan will not suffer from the attack, but their artificial environments will be broken down. So we don't know how that will affect them. One of the only noteworthy things about this clan as of right now is they do believe Griff will be a founding member of this clan. And then we have our Wyvern clan, which will also be founded in Wyvern, Scotland, sometime between 1997 and 2188. And this was an attempt to recolonize the site of one of the oldest known clans. According to Greg Wiseman, the Wyvern clan will be more back to basics, and they'll return to kind of the ancient ways of the race. They're going to shun technology for a simpler, better life. And they'll build some kind of structure to live in to replace Castle Wyvern, but I truthfully think it'd be really cool if they just lived in the hills and the caves around Wyvern Hill.
So basically like a gargoyle hippie commune.
Kind of. And because there's going to be so many clans that will form this clan, their genetic makeup is going to be very diverse. But it will mostly be descended one way or another from the original Wyvern clan. And so the characteristics of that clan will be most evident. Liberty clan, this is actually going to be the clan formed on Queen Florence Island off the coast of Canada. And all of the eggs from the rookeries of the 12 previous clans that we've mentioned in the Gargoyle Nation will be brought to Queen Florence Island between 2188 and 2198 so that they can start a new clan here that will be called the Liberty clan. Now, this is the place where the eggs are stolen from or by the space spawn, as well as all of the leaders of the current clans. So, of course, this will be the place of quite a bit of action that we're not privy to at this time. But keep that in mind because maybe one day we will be. And, of course, last but not least is our Notre Dame clan living in Paris, France. After the liberation from the space spawn in the early 22nd or 23rd centuries, many cities will actually make bids to be the location for the newest gargoyle clan, and Paris will win. Go Carell!
Yay!
That is so cool.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, who wants to host the Olympics? I do. I'll pay $10 million. That's funny.
And this clan will be founded sometime after 2198, and they will occupy Notre Dame Cathedral. Again, not much is known about this, but it does sound like they are going to be an incredibly diverse clan. So they'd be a lot of fun to see, and who knows, maybe Corel's members will make an appearance.
It'll be funny too when they move in and realize, hey, somebody was living here centuries ago. Turns out Simona was. Someone was squatting here.
But that wraps it up with the Gargoyle Nation. I did have to be brief due to time restraints, and hopefully it was brief enough on certain things and informative enough on others. But if you want the full story, make sure to check out the Garg Wiki. They are full of information on all of these clans.
Garg Wiki is awesome.
I know. I don't know what I would do without it. And now we are moving on to our fanfiction. So take it away, Charles.
Two fanfictions I have to review for this episode relating to the Roar of the Month, which is about the gargoyle clans of the world, and including their future, which is, of course, this fanfiction story is about the gargoyles of the year 2198, written by Griffin Worm 7 of fanfiction.net. It's unfortunately a unfinished story, which only 2 chapters, but introduces the opening to what is going on related to the world, and just as when the space spawn invasion begins. It tells the story of the Gargoyles units so far in the future, where they are generally accepted by all human society, in the point where most of the clans that is known in canon and training, both introduced in the show and only mentioned by Greg Weisman of Garg Wiki in Station 8, about the Gargoyles establishing the Liberty Clan, the first clan to unite from around Gargoyles with bring their eggs together from around the world to unite to breed a new clan that will form a global synergy of Gargoyles, become homogenized with human society. However, just then, while the world leaders are attending to consummate this in celebration and recognition of this event and effort, the alien race of Space One that Nakar has learned about in the TV show during the World Tour story arc, and went in the episode of the Easter Island, comes to finally invade and conquer the Earth by abducting the eggs of the would-be Liberty Clan and those world leaders that were in attendance there, and before declaring the rest of the world to submit to slavery and exploitation for this alien empire now establishing dominance over the Earth, or face oblivion, with now the world pretty much left in political chaos. The story introduces new clans of characters such as Samson and Delilah, as well as Lexington androids, as well as in old ones. This is what happened with Nakar having to react to the space spawn invasion, which is sadly he's taken out of action before he could really do anything, and it also introduces into the whole fray of the mess another crazy and throw in a wild card factor, which is Time Dancer Brooklyn having an appear, throwing in all this mess now taking place. Now, for my next story, which pays tribute to all these international clans of gargoyles, but in terms of fandom, in comparison to what we were talking about in the Roar of the Month of Canon and training of existing clans, is the Siberia side, which is introduced the Siberian clan of gargoyles living in Russia's backyard. Written by Brasc of Fanfiction on Fanfiction.net and Gargoyles Fanfiction Archive. It is also, too, an unfinished story with 5 chapters, but established much of the story halfway into it, assuming if that was meant to be the length of the story thus far. The story focuses on a Russian young man and college student named Anatoly Terentyev from Irkutsk, Russia, who is saved by a clan of reclusive gargoyles hidden deep in the wilderness of Siberian Russia. He seeks them out and thanks and befriends them while discovering the world of mysticism existing beyond human society. They tell him their story in turn of their clan that coexisted with ancient Asian steppe tribes since the start of human civilization, and in turn learn about the modern world that they've been pretty much left rather hidden and not quite familiar with it, especially when they were hiding from the Soviet system that they last knew about of the human world in their vicinity. While this is happening, it also introduces a side story of our secondary criminal character from that of old New York mafia, but here of the Russian mafia, Thomas Brode, the Czech mobster, as you remember from the episode of the Golem during the World Tour story arc. It established his new criminal empire by taking over the Russian mafia across the whole region. And by the time that he starts to solidify his power, that's when the Siberian clan, curious to the new world they are now in and wanting to become part of, free. Well, he seeks to keep the new Russia free from such evils, as both from humans like that of Brode, as well as that of the Fae, or the third race, when they were facing some in the countryside that are isolated from the rest of modern society, still harassing Russian peasantry and traditional farmers. And that's where I have to cover from Fanfiction on this episode.
Well, thank you very much for that, Charles. And now we will move on to our fan art area with Karel. Take it away.
Okay, so for this podcast, we made the special light on the clans over the world. So I chose those fan arts with this theme, and there are lots of art about the clan over the world, but I really wanted to present to you those particular pictures. So I'll begin with this picture, which is Bushido.
I was hoping you were going to pick this one. I know which one this is already.
I think I know what you're talking about, too. Only guessing, but I have a good guess.
Yeah, I had to.
This one is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really gorgeous. So this is Bushido by SyrusbLiz.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, and I remember that she used to do a lot of Gargoyles art back in the days, and I really wish she could maybe do a little more. So maybe if she can hear us, that would be very awesome, because she did very major pieces. Like, I don't know if you remember she did a Zodiac series of the Gargoyles.
Yeah, I do remember those.
I will talk about those for another time. But so this is Bushido. So you can see the main characters of the Ishimura clan, and I always zap on their names, except for Fudag, because it's Fudag. But what I really like about this picture is, of course, the composition of the image. They are they are not static. They are very dynamic poses, and
I agree. I was going to say I love the movement of this piece. Like, it's just powerful.
Yeah, they are just like dancing, or very it's very beautiful. And even maybe the thing that I love the most is that it's done with markers. With Tria or Copic, it's not digital, and I must say that I think that most of her work are made with markers. It seems that she really likes to use this kind of technique. So it's very, very good. And for those like me who are very afraid to use markers. It's just, like a thing, a goal to reach. This kind of technicity. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, it could be digital. I mean, I truthfully have so much respect for those who don't use digital. I love digital, I'm not saying that. But I have so much respect for those who can color like this with those markers, because I've tried with some of those Copics and they bleed like you would not believe. So this is awesome.
Yeah, it really depends on the number of Copic that you have. It depends on the paper that you use. Yeah. So I know from experience that if you want to have some good effects on your paper, you must have a lot of Copics, to play with the colors and the tones. So it's not very, very easy to use this stuff, yeah.
Well, she makes it look easy, and I suppose that's the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, indeed, yeah. So that was the one, and for the next one, I chose this one. This is pencil drawing featuring the Gargoyles leaders. This was made by Darklaw 1303 on DeviantArt. There will be links all over the place on the website. So if you want to,
this one too. This was very nice.
Yeah,
I know. I feel these guys don't get the respect that they deserve half the time. You see so many original characters that it's awesome to see all of the leaders together.
Most of the leaders, well, the leaders, because all the clans that you talked about just before, we can see all the leaders
that was before it was. They were mentioned.
Yeah. The Avalon clan, the Mayan clan, the Labyrinth, the Manhattan, the London, there's Ishimura and Avalon.
Yep.
There are some missing, but as we don't know what they look like, they could be.
They could be anybody.
Yeah, they could be anybody. But
this is such a strong piece. I mean, it's very quiet. They're just standing there, but yet you feel the strength of these characters.
Yeah, and it's just like superheroes pose, kind of like Justice League or.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of powerful images, yeah.
Without a doubt.
It's like one of those wartime propaganda posters of your Alliance of World Leaders and working with you for
join our clan.
Yeah. We want you.
Yes, we want you to join the Gargoyle Nation.
Yeah, this kind of yeah. And yeah, I don't know if this one is colored. I didn't find it, but that could be nice.
This one is just a sketch. Yeah, it would be nice if there was a colored too.
Yeah, that would be very cool. So that was the second. So for the next one, I chose to show you this one, the Doppleganger commission by Rhandi-Mask. Cool. So this features Griff during the Blitz War over London.
Oh, I love this one too.
And you can see
one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, it's the sense of scenery and
it looks just like it's been cut right out of the cartoon.
Yeah,
it does. It looks like an animation cell.
And what I like about it, it's the sense of dynamic. You can see the Tower Bridge on the left side, and you just see if you have ever been to London, you know how big this Tower Bridge, and so the point of view is made that it's just a wonderful and very perspective, You see the perspective with you see the nose of the plane and the Tower Bridge at the end. Yeah. And it's just epic.
You almost feel like your point of view is Goliath, like maybe he's looking down on this scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very powerful piece. Yeah.
It is.
Totally.
It's just awesome in the portrayal of the character and of the action that's taking place.
It's stuff like this just inspires me, really.
Yeah.
It is. It's very inspirational. That's a great way to describe it.
Very. And as it's a commission, I must say that the commissioner is very lucky because it's a very beautiful piece.
Yes.
Yeah. And so for the last one, I chose to show you this one because it's a special treat for Nebulan because she did a lot of My Little Pony's gargoyles. She did every characters in the My Little Pony form, and they just look so cute.
I haven't seen this one. This is adorable.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. I love how Constance is like hamming it up. I'm not making a pun. I know she's a warthog or a boar. I'm sorry, she's a boar, but I love how she's hamming it up over in the corner.
Yeah, they look fantastic. And if you can just go on her page, and she has a ton of, this little furry My Little Pony. It's very, 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 very cute. And she's done a lot of other characters and other fandoms too. Mm-hmm. So she did a very great job about it.
Nebulan, you crack me up.
Oh, Nebulan did this. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's done some wonderful work. She did it even crossovers with